here on Off the Top Rope, and we are thrilled to welcome a young woman who's the best hugger in the business and whose future is incredibly bright, WWE Superstar Bayley. Bayley, let's jump right in. The fans, they've spoken, and you were finally brought up to the main roster just a few weeks ago. What has been the best thing about your first few weeks or so?
It's all of it, really. I was, the first night I was introduced by Mick Foley, who is a WWE legend who I grew up watching, someone who, I had his action figures, I had his posters, I had his shirts, so just to be out there in a WWE ring with him was incredible. And just the reaction to the crowd, that was such a heartwarming moment for me. I felt welcomed, and I felt like automatically I knew I belonged there.
I want to go back to 2008. You had your first professional wrestling match. Take me back to what made you want to try, as a female, this very unique lifestyle and career.
Well, it was definitely a different childhood for me because I was a girl who was in love with wrestling, and it kind of got weird looks when I told people I wanted to be a pro wrestler. I would wear wrestling t-shirts to school. In high school, my basketball coach wouldn't let me onto the bus to go to our away games if I was wearing a wrestling t-shirt. She just thought it was unprofessional, and she's like, "You're not a wrestler. You need to be wearing basketball clothes. You need to be looking more professional." So I always ran into things like that. It's just, I started watching it when I was 10, and the first person I saw was Macho Man Randy Savage, and everything about him drew me in. Just the way he walked, the way he looked, the way he carried himself, and just something about him, the way he moved in the ring, I just was intrigued. Like, I did not stop watching, and I just kept watching it.
When you walk into an arena now and you get ready for a show, what do you think your role is?
I believe, we have huge roles now that we're, the women's evolution has grown, and now we've seen from the Divas Championship to now the Women's Championship. Now there's two Women's Championships. We have one on SmackDown with Becky Lynch, and we have one on RAW with Charlotte. So that's just a huge deal right there. It's just, there's two titles because there's so much talent in the WWE, in the women's division. And I feel kind of, like a little bit of pressure, but good pressure, to where I want people to buy tickets to see the women's matches. And whenever I walk out, I want to prove to everybody and prove to, some trainers back home or some friends back home that kind of thought this would never work out for me. And I want them to be changing the channel and see me on TV and just know that I did it. And it's possible to fulfill your dreams. It's possible to do something that you had as a crazy little kid, as a 10-year-old kid, to live your dream. And that's just always a goal of mine. I went to millions, not millions, obviously. I couldn't have gone to millions, but hundreds of WWE shows when I was a kid. So I remember being on the other side of the guardrail. I remember how cool it is to just think that you see your favorite superstar look at you, or think that they see your sign. And maybe they do, maybe they don't, but just the feeling that you get that you're in the same building with some of your favorite superstars, and being able to touch their hand. Just any little intimate interaction is the best thing, and that's what I try to do when I walk out. If I can touch everyone's hands, I would. If I can give everyone hugs, I would. But there's only so much you can do, and I try to give out my headband, just like Rey Mysterio would give out his mask, or like Bret Hart would give out his glasses, because I know how much that means to everybody, and I want someone to walk away with the memory every single night.
Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, they were all called up kind of a year before you. Was it frustrating or motivating to watch them get called up one by one?
Well, if you want to put a little salt in the wound, Coach, geez, I just got here. No, it's a little bit of both, honestly. When I first saw them, I felt so proud because we've all become so close and kind of like a sisterhood, and I felt that I kind of had a little small part of them getting to that point. So the night that they debuted, it was a little hard to be sitting on my couch watching it, but I felt very proud, and I, let them know that I was so, so happy for them. And although I kind of wish I would have gotten there at the same time, or maybe a few months afterwards and not a whole year later. I was just so thrilled to see them on WrestleMania. But that was the night when I saw that they came out with the new women's title and that they possibly stole the show that night. To see them in front of just all those people, and I was on the ground and just, man, that was the night that it started becoming, you know, I was like, okay, I've done everything I can with NXT. This is where I need to be. This is where I want to be. This is where I belong. So there was nothing that I was going to do. There's no turning back after WrestleMania. That was the night that I knew I needed to get to WWE.
You know, one word that the novice fan doesn't understand is when the word chemistry is used to describe a relationship with an opponent. At every step the last couple of years, including the first ever female Iron Man match in WWE history, you have made this journey with Sasha Banks. How has that chemistry developed, and how much does it play into taking your matches to incredible heights for the female division?
I think the thing about Sasha is Sasha and we kind of had chemistry right off the bat. My first week with NXT, I had to do a practice match, and they put me in the ring with Sasha, and we just, you know, we just went at it, and it kind of just, we clicked right away. And you hear that with so many superstars, with so many legends. They say that they just have this chemistry, and you don't really understand it until you actually have it, and that's what Sasha and I had right away. We both have the same goal. We've been wanting to take women's wrestling and sports entertainment to new heights since we started, and that's just, we just keep working for it. And so when we have our matches, we want the best match on the card. We want the best match on the show, and we want to be the best women's wrestlers. So there's a little bit of that competitive edge that we keep needing to one-up each other every time.
Clash of Champions is this Sunday. Bayley, you will be a big part of it. We now know you a little bit better. Thank you for joining us here on Off the Top Row.